We took a road that was on the left, an unknown road, and by taking that and making that turn, we turned back time for ourselves. We were on a dirt road in a forest with milestones, and it was incredible. We were off the grid, and we were on the old Albany Post Road. That was the beginning of this project, really, and we wanted to do, it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. We wanted to share it with others, and we wanted to find out where the old Post Road was. We started with a Christopher Collis map, a map that mapped it end to end from Wall Street, New York, and Federal Hall to Ferry Street and Rensselaer, 155 miles, and we wanted to georeference it and tell the story. So we didn't know anything about georeferencing. We were able to secure a grant from the Open Space Institute. We started a team. My wife and Krista Martinovich and myself are up there on the chart. And we started out working on and learning with a steep learning curve, learning how to create georeference maps using control points, which is really the link between a distant past and today's map. And it's the connective tissue of history, is the way I think of it. So we right away ran into a challenge with New York City. The first 14 miles have been completely wiped out over time. The old road is hard to find. But luckily in 1950, a group of historians did a very accurate location of where milestones occurred in Manhattan. And we were able to use those as our control points, our connective tissues, so we could orient the map right to the Manhattan grid network. Along the way, we've discovered a lot of milestones. They were great for the first 14 miles. After that, not so much, because they get moved quite a lot. Even though they're 300 pounds heavy, they moved, highway crews can move 300-pound stones easily. So we ended up relying a lot on houses. And so part of our work was to extend our team by partnering with Marist University for 3 interns, Andrew, Gabriella, and Matthew. They helped research house by house as we go up the road. Where was it? What's the story about it? And helped us find these control points. An example is right here. Lentz Tavern, we thought was gone. We found it based on our work. It's still there. This is one of 2 places we found that I think are kind of discoveries, for us anyway, certainly. And the 2 that we found that are in dire need of preservation. So we're hoping to cast a spotlight on these, and we're working with the owners of the property to try to develop plans to preserve these. We've got a lot more don't have the time to go into. But as we're doing this, evaluating each of these houses, we got, by chance, a call from a paleoecologist named Guy Robinson out of Fordham University. And he said, oh, by the way, this old road was probably, most likely, a mastodon path. So we were quite intrigued with this. So he put us in touch with, on the left here, anthropologist Gary Haynes, who's done extensive research and has groundbreaking research, really, that talks about fluted point cultures using landscape altered by proboscideans, aka mastodons, mammoths. And sure enough, that picture of the trail begins to make you convinced that it would be hard for paleo peoples in the region not to follow a trail like that for hunting and so on. So we found that other roads are similar to this. Natchez Trace, Route 66 in Arizona were also mastodon paths. We've been doing proximity analysis of mastodon sightings. They're scattered all up and down along the road. We've got early start underway for paleo people artifacts. These are, again, a 25-mile stretch along the road in Columbia County. And we're also working with the geologists, because the path shape actually mirrors the elevated water levels of the post-Ice Age water melt. So with that, we put in place this kind of a picture. This is the origins of the road. The architect is the Ice Age elevated water levels. The mastodons were like the bulldozers and the steamrollers. the Paleo peoples came in, transitional users, I mean the Dutch here, the British recognized its importance. Then over time, the Americans optimized it and wiped out the path. It's very hard to find it. We found the path, and we're interested in preserving it. One chart to go, and that is we see an opportunity. We're going to be publishing this book with turn-by-turn directions so you can drive it. Lots of opportunity for tourisms to endorse this. We'll be doing this next year rather. We'll have it complete. I wish it were next week. And it's not too late. If you know of stories along the road related to 1780s, we're all ears. And also, if you're in a local area that you have one of these older control points, older homes, select some, look at kicking off action to try to preserve them. And so I thank you. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Bruce. It's a fascinating project, and please consider reaching out to Bruce if you want to get involved. There's a lot going on there. Next up, we have Jessica Pulver, who is from I Love New York, and she is the what is your title?
Senior manager.
Oh, there it is. Never mind. But Jessica, so I Love New York is one of the members of our 250th Commission. Obviously, they're our state tourism entity, and she's going to talk about how to put Path Through History to work for us. So thank you, Jessica.
Thanks, Devin. Thanks, Bob, everybody, for being here today. I'm here from I Love New York. As most of you probably know, I Love New York is, and the Division of Tourism at Empire State Development is the official marketing destination for the state of New York. And we are tasked with promoting travel to New York under the iconic I Love New York logo. We don't do any of this work alone. We work with many partners at other state agencies, our industry partners, on the local level, travel partners, and of course our tourism promotion agencies, who you will hear more about after me, after this quick update. So I Love New York does a lot of different aspects of promoting the state. We do marketing, B2B work, industry work, program and policy development. But today what I really want to focus on is that marketing that we do, and share how we're marketing to promote New York as a top destination for America 250 Commemoration. We are doing that in a variety of ways already, and we'll be amping that up and continuing. That includes paid advertising, our owned media. Our social media has over 2.4 million followers across our channels. We are also doing experiential, going to events, having press events, working in the travel trade industry, and basically talking about, like I said, why New York is this top destination for interested travelers. We are also in the process of developing and getting ready to kick off our paid media campaign, which will include digital advertising efforts, which will all push to our website. The Path Through History program that I oversee and at I Love New York is the Historic and Heritage Tourism program of I Love New York. I hope that many of you are familiar with it and participate in it. What this program does is highlight over 700 historical and culturally significant sites all across the state. We do that all throughout the year, and then twice a year in the spring and fall, we do joint promotion for Path Through History weekends, which collectively promote events happening all across the state. Because of this work, it is a very natural integration with America 250, and the programs have been working together for the past couple of years now and will continue to. Like I mentioned, we will also be promoting 250 as a standalone promotion, and through that we have dedicated ilovenewyork.com/America250. So this landing page, which is continually being added to and developed with content driven by the submissions of the local, regional, statewide organizations like yourselves. This is meant to serve as the hub of what's happening for 250 in New York State. This is meant to draw in anyone interested. So whether it be the history buffs who have their checklist of all the battlefields and they know where they're going, to families whose children might be learning about this more so in their curriculum this year, and even just the folks that are, they know it's the 250, they want to do something, they're not sure what. We want to have everything that's needed to plan a trip, to find an event, to find a way to commemorate in one place, and that is the goal of this page. The main attraction of it at this point is the calendar, which you heard others talk about. It is collaborative, and that is by design. We want there to be a one-stop shop, and we do understand the time it takes to submit these events, but we do feel that it's for the benefit of everybody. I wanted to highlight a couple things that are on the calendar right now. We very often say events calendar, and I do want to start by saying exhibits are also welcome and should be included on this calendar, whether it's a limited time exhibit. There was a North Castle, I believe at the library, short-term exhibit. That should be added. If it's a year-long exhibit, like is happening at Castellani Art Museum, that should be included as well. If your collection already includes things, but you're really highlighting them for the 250, those types of things are great to be included. Next up, there's offerings that offer multiple occasions for people to engage and visit. Those ongoing events like lecture series that cover a variety of topics, women, Black loyalists, etc. Any ongoing film series, the Fort Ticonderoga Real-Time Revolution that gives immersive opportunities. All of these ongoing things not only create engaging and drawing events, but they also give people multiple occasions to go and even revisit. Of course, large fairs, festivals, reenactments, those are big draws, and those can help serve as the anchor for a longer trip, for a weekend trip, or to add to an already planned trip. So all of these things work together, and of course the large tentpole events will also draw people, and those may draw visitors from further away. So we want to make sure that there's other opportunities for them to explore and, like I said, really build that trip out. So submitting your event. At the end of the day, we would really love for you to submit your event for a number of reasons. Like I said, we want there to be a one-stop shop for people to visit. We also want to give you a platform to let people know about what's going on. We all in this room are aware of why New York should be everyone's top destination for America 250. Thank you. We all know that. But let's make sure that it's clear to everybody else as well. When people are looking for things to do, when they're looking for the places to go and experience this history, they can stand where it happened. That's not true everywhere. We really have a unique a unique offering, and we want to make sure that people can experience that. So we welcome your submissions. We have a form online. I understand it is time consuming to submit anything. We have tried to make it simple. Myself and others remain available if you need help. If there's some barrier that we can help overcome, we are very, very willing to work with you. The event listings, like I said, all approved events go on our calendar. Everything we're doing for 250 at I Love New York, all of that paid media, organic media, press, everything is going to drive to this calendar. So we want you to be on it. Other exciting news about the calendar, recently through the commission, events are also able to be added to the America 250 national calendar. We will be working with the commission to ensure that all the events that are uploaded to our calendar are also on that calendar. So you fill out one form and you've doubled your reach. And again, that just really will, when you go to that national page and look at the map, we want New York to just be like lit up with the events. So there's no question that it's the place to be. Finally, follow us across all our channels to keep up with what we're promoting, what we're doing, how you can be involved. Please don't hesitate to reach out to our team, to me specifically. I believe they mentioned they'd be sending out contact information. If there's something you're doing and you're not sure how it fits, but you know it needs to be promoted, let us know. We have ways to promote press releases, pitches, blogs. There's a way to do it. The more we know, the more we can promote you and help make sure that everyone hears about the great things that are going on. So thank you. And I'm also presenting our next person. I said thank you too early. So next up from Otsego and Schoharie County is Cass Martin Majestic, who will be talking about how to work with your local partners, how that connects to the state, and overall why they are the best partner in your area.
I get that already? All right, thank you. Yes, as she said, I am Cass Majestic. I am the president and CEO at Destination Marketing Corporation. We are the tourism promotion agency for both Otsego and Schoharie counties. So everything that I'm going to say is kind of a generalization and hypothetical. So I'm going to talk about your TPA, but not all TPAs are created the same. And so what we might be doing might be similar or different from other TPAs, just to preface. I am also the current board chair for the New York State Tourism Industry Association. So thank you, Bob and staff, for everything that you've done today. The president of the Central New York Vacation Region, team captain of the New York Susquehanna Basin Water Trail, councilwoman for the Mohawk Valley Regional Economic Development Council, and recently the secretary of the board for the New York State Destination Marketing Organization, or what I like to say, everything everywhere all at once, it seems. Succession. There are 62 counties in New York State. Each of those counties has a TPA, or a tourism promotion agency. I'm going to say that a lot today. Those TPAs are granted matching funds from Empire State Development to administer marketing programs that align with I Love New York outside of their region. How many regions, vacation regions, are in New York State? Does anybody know? 11. There are 11 vacation regions. I hail from the Central New York Vacation Region. There are 10 others, and they're represented by that map. The regions are really important because they're a conduit for communication between I Love New York and the individual counties. As regional chair, it's my job to make sure that when I get communications from the state, that I then filter that information down to the individual counties, and it means that there are 11 contact points for I Love New York. That makes it a little bit easier than trying to keep track of potential turnover at 62 different offices. TPAs have various funding sources. Like I said, they're not all created equal. Some have, most get occupancy tax revenue, marketing co-ops that they offer, so private buy-in from their businesses and their communities, New York State matching funds, and some have membership or options. But we are in place to promote attractions and restaurants, lodging, meetings, event venues, parks and rec, film locations. Some of your TPAs might actually be recruiting movies and film shows to come and to your destinations. Bus tours, sports complexes, historical sites, tournaments, and I'm probably missing some. But New York State, the tourism itself is the second largest industry in New York State. 1 out of 9 jobs in New York are supported by tourism spending, which also means that 49 cents out of every dollar spent by visitors ultimately ends up in someone's paycheck. One of the things I like to remind, especially county legislators, is that tourism investment is one of the few things that you guarantee you're going to get money back on. So, tourism done right, it's not tourism is not the goal, it's the means to an end in terms of economic development. So it drives responsible, sustainable economic growth, local job creation, small business success, enhanced community vitality, and so on. But the ultimate customer of tourism is the resident. It's not the visitor. The outside money coming in is what helps that community thrive. And I want to thank all of you for putting together programming that helps our community and our residents be proud of where they came from and educated about what's in their own backyard. I see this America 250 as an opportunity to really engage the people who live in your communities, especially the youth. And so that local pride is the seed for what helps people stay in their community and want to remain here or come back after school. So promotional efforts, TPA, real quick. They likely have social media channels. And so they're going to be doing social media promotion and website advertising. They also have their own websites. And they probably produce an inspiration or travel guide or brochure or whatever they're calling it. And they likely have an e-newsletter. These are all opportunities for you to get in front of a very large crowd. We oftentimes we have multiple PR efforts. Sometimes we bring in social media influencers. Other times we might bring in a travel journalist. For example, they reached out to us, a writer from the Christian Post this fall, and we built out their itinerary. They went to multiple locations across both Otsego and Schoharie County. And we knew it was a small publication, but we ended up striking gold on this because MSN, the story got syndicated, MSN grabbed it, and we ended up with an estimated media value on his article alone of over $1 million. It was lucky, but sometimes those kind of things happen. Newsletter, again, we have over 65,000 subscribers just at our 2 counties alone with a higher than average open rate. That's gold. If you can reach out to your TPA and you can get on some of their content planning schedules, that's an audience that you could potentially get in front of. Again, travel guides, inspiration guides, they're probably putting them out all around the country, really, with a large focus on the Northeast. They're oftentimes not listicles or guaranteed information in there. Sometimes those are like hours curated by the staff. And so again, if you are connected with your TPA and they know what it is that you have to offer at your site, there's more chance for you to be featured in things like this. We have our own event calendar. Most TPAs likely do. In some cases, they're connected with I Love New York's, in some cases not. But this is one of the things that we spend a lot of our money putting behind, driving people to this event calendar, especially our local community, because tourism is nothing if your locals aren't happy and proud of where they're at. So, some tips on how to work with your TPA. Number 1, and thank you so much, Lauren, for mentioning it in advance. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So, who wants to go eat at this place? Anybody? You wouldn't know it, but this is one of the nicest, most incredible establishments inside Cooperstown to eat. But it actually looks like this. So it's a restaurant inside a greenhouse, and they source local ingredients, and they support our farming community. It's called Origins Cafe, and if you haven't been, you should. But a picture is so incredible. If you have the opportunity to bring in a professional photographer, even if you're reaching out to a student at your local college who can come in and help you really get good photos of what you have to promote, that is gold for your TPA. And if we're also putting out content daily, it gets really easy for us to burn through our image library. So if you gave us photos last year, we want more this year. And this one, we love this one. Who wants to go to this facility just based on this picture that I took from my cell phone? It's great. We love the Old Stone Fort. Thank you for being here. But this picture sells the place, right? You want to go there. There's people there. There's a family that's engaged, and we happen to have one of these folks in the room. So this really, it tells a story, right? And it encourages people to want to visit. This one, again, more cell phone photos that I took. The Hyde Hall, beautiful establishment. The top photo is kind of crooked, and the bottom one is dark. There's no people there. But again, you can change that story if you have the right photos. So this is the same place, but the picture of the outside has people there, and it's during the right season. We coordinated with Mother Nature, and she actually listened. And then the other pictures got people on a tour with someone in costume. And so this again, pictures. If you get nothing out of this, to know what your TPA is and to take good pictures and get them to them, that's all. But promotional opportunities to work with your TPA, again, they probably have lots of different channels to get through, and they might maybe offer one-on-one consultations. They can help you out with those things. They might have industry webinars that you can garner information from, and many of them have data, lots and lots of data that you can use, especially in your grant applications for additional funding. They probably have those brochures. Put them out at your facility. Improve your visitor experience and allow them to go to different places while they're there. Add a link to your TPA's website, to your website. Again, improving the visitor experience. So 10 ways to help your TPA help you. Get to know them. Make sure that all the information on your website, social media, and Google listing is correct. Photos, photos, photos. Send updates to them about any special events and subscribe to their newsletter so you know what's going on. Engage with them on social media. Tag them in your posts. Take advantage of co-op marketing if they have it. Attend TPA events. We have brochure exchanges that are super popular, and we have a lot of historical societies that participate in that then form relationships to collaborate with additional businesses to offer more robust programming. And maybe even consider motor coach groups, bus groups, but that is something for another day. This is a QR code that has a list with phone numbers for all the 62 TPAs in New York State, courtesy of I Love New York. Please scan it if you don't already know who your TPA is. And that's all I have today. So the next person that I'm going to introduce is a wonderful colleague of mine, Olga Lusterado, and she's here to talk to you about all of the untold stories that New York State has to offer, and this is an initiative put on by the DEAI committee at NYSTIA. Thanks, Olga.
Thank you. Wonderful. Hello, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm a little bit vertically challenged, so I'll bring this down a little bit. Okay. So, diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion is under attack. And many in leadership positions are actively rewriting, retelling, and in some cases, erasing our diverse history. The DEAI committee members have decided that our contribution to NYSTIA, the 250 Commemoration Commission, and to the general public is to tell stories that haven't been told, but should be. To bring to the forefront the ancestors who have in one way or another made significant contributions to the development of this country as we know it. Seemingly ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We want to tell the untold stories of the contributions and sacrifices that Black, Brown, Native, AAPI, LGBTQ+, women, the disabled, and the marginalized communities, religious communities, have made in the development of our nation. We decided to go beyond the stories of people a good portion of our state and country already know about. Not that their stories are not worth telling, they are. But the committee decided to focus on the little-known yet remarkable people throughout the century. Throughout centuries actually, this requires research, it requires collaboration and verification. We already have over 60 stories, and here are just a few examples. The Seneca woman and village leader who served as an interpreter in treaty negotiations and led her people as they fled to Fort Niagara after many of the Haudenosaunee villages were destroyed, Queen Katarina Montour. An unlikely hero of the American Revolution, Bill Swan, an enslaved man that had joined the British Navy for promised freedom. He was also an experienced pilot aboard the frigate HMS Hussar. Though he warned the captain of the hazardous waters, he was underestimated, and the ship struck a rock formation called Pot Rock in what is now called the Bronx. I'm sure you've heard about it. The ship sank, reportedly carrying the British military's payroll and other valuables. Chaim Solomon, a Jewish immigrant from Poland, who used his financial expertise and fundraising ability to finance the Continental Army. A pioneering educator. Let me make sure. Did it go up? Yep. Okay, good. A pioneering educator and an ardent abolitionist, Emily Howland, who dedicated her life to advancing education for African Americans. She founded and supported over 50 schools and taught freed enslaved people, empowering Black students through advocacy and financial support. Don Pedro Albizu Campos, a dark-skinned Puerto Rican man. He was also a Harvard-educated attorney who suffered great discrimination, though he had the highest GPA in all his law classes and spoke several languages: English, Spanish, French, German, Portuguese, Italian, Latin, and ancient Greek. How many of you can say that? He went on to become a Puerto Rican hero, though as of this last Sunday, we may have a new Puerto Rican hero to celebrate. Thank you. The activist Yuri Kochiyama, a Japanese American who was imprisoned during World War II in an American internment camp, along with her family. Determined to fight for African Americans, Asians, and Puerto Ricans, she became an active and powerful voice for multifaceted social justice causes. Reverend Dr. Pauli Murray. Thank you. Who is what would be identified today as non-binary, was a civil rights activist, legal scholar, writer, poet, labor organizer. They graduated top of their class at Howard University School of Law and was the first African American to earn a Doctor of Juridical Science. Did I say that right? Juridical Science from Yale Law School, and the first African American ordained as an Episcopal priest. Their legal work and writings influenced the landmark 1954 Brown v. Board of Education. The mother of the disability rights movement, Judy Homan, who contracted polio as a toddler and was wheelchair-bound for the rest of her life. As a child, she was called a fire hazard and was barred from attending public school. She fought for rights for people of disabilities in her work and led to the signing of the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. We have many stories to tell. Is that going? Yep, we have many stories to tell. Our committee has thus far identified over 60. Thank you. We're working on getting them all vetted, verified, and narrated. Our goal is to get 250 to commemorate 250 years. I want to put up this QR code. Let's see. Okay, this QR code will take you to a submission form and also a link to the flip book with more stories if you're interested. Please bookmark this, and if you know of any untold story begging to be told, please submit using the form that this QR code is going to bring you to. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you, Olga. That great work, amazing stories that you're uncovering and highlighting. Next up, we have Sarah Van Anden, the Executive Director of the Museum Association New York, and one of our committee members that helped put this together, and they're going to give us an update from the Museum Association. So thank you.
Hi. Oh, the light is quite bright. Thanks so much all for having me here. I'm going to try to go quickly so you can hear mostly from the museums themselves. As Devin mentioned, I'm Sarah Van Anden. I'm the relatively new Executive Director of the Museum Association of New York. Our acronym is MANY. We represent about 750 museums across New York State, from small volunteer-led historical societies to the largest, most world-renowned collections of science, history, and culture. We were founded in 1960. We're based here in Troy, so if you're Capital Region located, don't hesitate to reach out. And this is a pretty easy pitch in this room, but In my opinion, New York is the greatest concentration and diversity of cultural organizations anywhere in the country. And we are proud that that is a history that can be celebrated during the 250th commemoration. This uniquely globally admired ecosystem represents the curiosity, creativity, and excellence that define who we are as New Yorkers and will be central to the commemoration of this national anniversary. When people picture museums or what my job might be, they often think first of New York City, but 88% of our members are outside of the 5 boroughs. From the Great Lakes to the Long Island Sound, from forever wild communities in the Adirondacks to the heart of an urban mega city, there are museums in all 62 counties. There are more than one museum in all 62 counties of New York State. These communities and museums are trusted, place-based civic institutions and centers for learning. And we're honored that so many of them will be anchors for 250th commemoration activities in their communities. To do so, they will present exhibitions, as you've already seen a bit of. They'll publish original research. They will continue to preserve irreplaceable histories and collections in New York State, even as those histories are in danger of being erased by the actions of others. They will create public engagement and dialogue, as you've already seen a bit of here. And they will partner with countless nonprofit partners, tourism partners, public programming partners, and opportunities for cultural enrichment and historical learning in their communities. Museums consistently rank among the most trusted public institution for visitors across the political spectrum, socioeconomics, and levels of formal education. This trust shows up in classrooms, senior centers, in neighborhood partnerships, and in rural main streets alike, and we're excited to see it celebrated for the 250th. These are places where young people can build critical thinking skills and problem solving, where neighborhoods can practice empathy and dialogue, and where communities can see their histories and identities reflected to feel a deeper sense of belonging in our state and in our nation. All of this is essential to celebrating America's 250th, and it is part of a collaborative statewide and national effort to celebrate this anniversary. So I'm going to cut my time short so we have a little more time from the museums themselves so you can hear about what they are doing. The first up, Ashley Swanson is joining us from the Frederick Remington Museum in Onondaga, New York. Ogdenville, got it. I put an O name in my head and then I got it completely wrong. We're looking forward to hear more of what we're doing. I studied at the Clark Art Institute that has one of Remington's largest collections, so I'm particularly excited to see how that's being worked into celebrating our nation's history.
Hello, everyone. I want to start by thanking you all for having me today. My name is Ashley Swanson. I'm from the Frederick Remington Art Museum in Ogdensburg, New York. And without further ado, let's get started. So, just an opening screen. So for those who are not familiar with Frederick Remington, he was one of the most prolific American artists of his time, and he is largely responsible for the way that people imagine the American West. His work captured the world of cowboys, crossed cultural divides by showing us intimate glimpses into the lives of Native Americans, and even recorded significant battles as one of the country's first foreign war correspondents of the Spanish-American War. Remington's artwork is so closely tied to the image of the United States that it seemed fitting to use the opportunity of America's 250th anniversary as a way to reignite the country's interest and passion for Remington and his artwork. The 250th is a once-in-a-generation moment to reintroduce foundational American stories to the public, and Remington sits at the center of that narrative. To prepare the museum for America's 250th, we have decided to introduce a rebranding initiative with funding through Market New York that we are very excited about. While the museum's mission has remained strongly dedicated to continuing the legacy of Frederick Remington for over a century, its outward presentation has not kept pace with the changing audience, resulting in untapped tourism potential and opportunities for broader engagement. This project will refresh the look and feel of the brand as well as the museum itself to modernize our organization for today's audiences. We are actively working on a reset of the museum's interpretive corridor, as well as the Albert P. and Addie P. Newell galleries, which house the museum's permanent Remington collection. A new logo and website will be unveiled this spring. The intention for the interpretive corridor is to add a newly improved lost wax exhibition, detailing the bronze casting process that Remington used for his world-renowned sculptures, and the very same process that elevated American sculpture at the turn of the 20th century. Okay. The corridor will also feature a new display titled Remington's Legacy, which will address the impact Remington and his artwork has had on popular culture, his enduring influence in the art and entertainment industries, and his political presence through his friendship with past President Theodore Roosevelt, and his artwork's permanent placement in the White House Art Collection. We will reset the permanent collection in the Newell galleries to show a selection of the masterworks in our collection and offer fewer works overall, allowing us to rotate the collection more often and more effectively. This direction will also offer us the opportunity to loan parts of the collection to other museums, which will spread recognition of Remington and his work across the country, driving visitors to St. Lawrence County to experience the breadth of our collection, which is the largest public collection of Frederick Remington's art and ephemera in the world. In return, this will drive tourism by offering viewings of different artworks and interpretations more frequently, encouraging return visits while also providing more informational and historical context alongside the artworks. The idea is to show less and connect more. Along with these updates, we plan to launch an organic marketing campaign with the intent to attract more tours to the museum and place an emphasis on our position as the leading cultural and educational tourism destination in St. Lawrence County. The museum's America 250 events will include an Orchestra of Northern New York performance that will take place on July 3rd, as well as a scholarly symposium that will begin on Frederick's birthday, October 4th, and will convene professionals in the world of American art who can present their research and perspectives, as well as engage with our collections and displays, elevating the museum's visibility through educational programming. That's about all I have. Feel free to take down my contact information, and we hope you guys are looking forward to it as much as we are, and that you'll come by and see us in Ardensburg at the Remington.
Next up, Matt Kegel from the Fort Ticonderoga Museum is going to talk to him about their institution's efforts in celebrating the occasion.
Thank you.
Of course.
There's actually
Want a
so much
clicker?
going on, you get two of us. So-
Even better.
Since I'm not up there, I'm Stuart Lilly, Vice President of Public History at Fort Ticonderoga, and we, for a 4-year period, are doing real-time revolution. At Fort Ticonderoga, our goal with Living History is to provide a fun, entertaining, informative living history experience that also holds up to academic rigor. One that incorporates the most recent study in archaeology, study in our own museum collections, the best documentary history, the latest insights coming out of historic trades, to produce a truly one-of-a-kind living history experience that is also as faithful as we possibly can make it to the actual events of the time. Real-time revolution over the 250th period. It is our industry-leading way of delivering this to our visitors one day at a time. And we do this because by presenting it one day at a time, we get back to the real contingency of these events. We get back to the fact that none of what happened was a foregone conclusion. The most recent Ken Burns documentary, I'm sure we all, as historians in New York, quibble on a whole bunch of the details. Lord knows I did. But his core thesis, that it is the war itself that forged a nation, an 8-year-long period, each day, far beyond just July 4th, 1776, deserves to be told. Now, we began this in grand style last year with the May 10th, 2025 capture of the fort, with the best explanation we possibly could of our most current insights to what really happened there. We closed out 2025 with the launch of Henry Knox's Noble Train, recreating not only the gathering of guns that came all the way from Canada up the Champlain Valley to Ticonderoga, but that first portage all the way up to Lake George. And as we've rolled on into 2026, we have continued our programming of the Noble Train in towns like Kinderhook, Hillsdale, and now, much like the Noble Train itself 250 years ago, we are well into Massachusetts, and we look forward to being all the way at Evacuation Day on March 17th in South Boston. Now, this year, of course, it's the big year. It's 2026. 250 years ago, it's 1776. Now, of course, nationally, things will focus on the Declaration of Independence, but we get to show the real story. Now, other things that I agree with Ken Burns on. One, it's a story that has to include everyone from the famous folks all the way down to the average soldiers. And to portray either of those in a vacuum misses, my last point of agreement, the true complexity of this story. And to add to this, the old adage, freedom isn't free, independence absolutely was not. And here in the Champlain Valley at Ticonderoga, we get to tell the incredible story of a shattered army retreating its way up Lake Champlain all the way to Ticonderoga, rebuilding itself, pulling itself up by the bootstraps, digging in, leaving the indelible mark of fortifications that still stand, every shovelful to this very day, where an American soldier put it in 1776. We get to tell this story as well as a war of fight for rights as British subjects pivoted to one of fighting for independence, and through the collective work of so many, how it was successfully defended on the waters of Lake Champlain and blocked British invasion in the most crucial moment in the earliest days of our fight for independence. And we are honored to tell this through immersive living history events, but also day-by-day programming that take our best understanding of what happened on a given day, who was there, and how they put their mark in this 8-year-long story. We get to put this, we have a saying that every day is an event, and this could not be more true than with our real-time revolution programming. Now, of course, we know as New Yorkers, the story doesn't end here. It rolls on into 1777. And we at Ticonderoga, we get to not only set the stage for the story of Saratoga, we get to show how the events of this famous year of the war, how it radiated out, not only transcending the entire region, but going all the way up, transcending national borders, and also with stories that connect Ticonderoga to all of our Northern Department partners, including Native American nations, Canadian historic sites, Vermont historic sites, and indeed, New York historic sites as well. This gets us to show all sides of it. American defense, the perspective of British and German soldiers, Native American allies, loyalists, and so many folks who still have a mark in national borders today.
And if that weren't enough, Fort Ticonderoga is so much more than just a living history site. Although we have a unique and important way to tell that story, we're also one of the foremost collections of 18th century military material culture in all of North America. And 2026 will see the third iteration of our revolutionary anthology exhibit, which rotates yearly for 5 years during our commemoration of the 250th anniversary of the War for Independence, exploring different themes each year. This year's focus is on revolutionary possibilities, echoing what Stuart just told you about our living history program and bringing you face to face with artifacts from our collection that make you realize that the revolution was not this foregone conclusion, but the result of many choices made by thousands, if not millions of individuals across North America and beyond. And the artifacts we have on display, from a rare Boston printing of the Declaration of Independence through newly conserved artwork like this portrait of Margaret Schoolcraft Bush Wall, who weathered the war between Schoharie, New York City, and the land that New Yorkers claimed, at least, that is now Vermont, experienced a remarkable part of this conflict, along with the stories of loyalists, the stories of Native Americans, and the broader world outside even North America that our artifacts have the ability to tell, not in generalities, but through specific things that were there during this time. Now this summer, in July, we're going to have a special installation of this artifact, which has not been on display for over a decade, a Continental soldier's knapsack, preserved by him, and not significant only for its rarity as one of the handful of these objects that survive from the Revolutionary War, but one that survived with a note from its owner that reminds us of the fragility of the Republic that he helped to create, which he understood during his lifetime, and provides us with a literal message from the revolutionary generation to be on guard for the liberties that he helped to win. So we hope you'll come and see that this summer. We also have a series of lectures, to echo the Ken Burns allusion earlier. This is a screening we did, but in our great room at the Mars Education Center at Fort Ticonderoga, we have our annual seminar on the American Revolution in September, where we bring both leading scholars and rising students of history to present the newest research on the Revolutionary era broadly from across the United States and even the world to Fort Ticonderoga to tell us what they're working on and give us new perspectives on this period. This program is going to be joined this year in October by a special conference the weekend of the anniversary of the Battle of Valcour Island in October of 1776, one that tries to pull back from simply the battle itself and look at the broader campaign of 1776 that, of course, our interpretive program has been exploring all year as we lead up to the critical moments in October when American independence was saved on Lake Champlain. So stay tuned for that, and we have other seminars on historic gardens and landscapes, as well as the French and Indian War that continue to run throughout this 250th anniversary period. I would be remiss, too, if I did not bring up our Northern Department initiative, which Stuart alluded to earlier, which is partly funded by I Love New York, which highlights 18 historic sites, not just in New York, but across this region, that all represent parts of the same revolutionary story. Because the political borders that we live with today were in many cases forged in this period. And so to understand the past, we have to cross these political borders, whether it's to the state of Vermont, north to the province of Quebec, or tribal communities in between, to understand this history more broadly. Our Northern Department initiative tries to create itineraries and bring together these sites so that people can plan to travel and explore this region in greater depth. We have this and so much more on offer at any point at Fort Ticonderoga across our 2,000-acre landscape that welcomes visits year-round to explore not just the history of the Revolution, but the broader experience of war in early America. We hope you can join us. Thank you.
Michael Clark from the Irish American Heritage Museum here in Albany, is going to talk to us about their institution's plans for celebrating the occasion.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to try to be as animated as the gentlemen who were just on. Not quite sure if that's going to happen. I just want to say I'm a recovered lawyer. I practiced for about 35 years. The last place I was in a 125-year-old law firm, mid-size in New York City. I took a year off to kind of find myself because I knew, I took the firm pre-COVID, through COVID, after COVID as the managing attorney, and I knew I wanted to do something in the Irish space. My parents are Irish immigrants, and during that year off, I spent 5 months teaching over in a college in Ireland, and then I also spent a month helping my brother, who lives in my dad's birthplace over there, deliver 65 lambs. So it was a very unique experience. In the middle of all that, I found out about this opportunity to lead this wee museum. And I say we, it's small. I see there's several people here today who have been there. And just a few months ago, we hired actually an assistant director, so it's a wee museum run by 2 people. But at that same time, in the last hot 15 seconds, or really about 15 months that I've been there, we've given talks and presentations and marched in parades as far as Long Island and as far north and out to the western part of our beautiful state. it's wonderful, and I think that that's part of the message today. And what we're doing here is basically, is just to talk to you about what you can do. It doesn't matter your size, but in working with others and other organizations. We have, my space, for those of you who've been there have seen it, it used to be the Albany Planetarium. So I remember when I went for the interview in the foyer, they had the Board of Trustees had a table set up and they were interviewing me, and I had this deja vu, like I couldn't figure out like why it was that I felt very familiar with the place. And they brought me for a tour of the museum, and after that they said, oh, by the way, we have this space. And they brought me in, and I instantly recognized it because when I moved up to the Albany, to this area in 2000, I had 3 kids under the age of 8. I had a wife who worked midnights in Albany Med, and so my instructions were, if you want to make me happy, you got to get them out of the house. And we spent a lot of time in that space. So what we have, I mean, of course, we've got a tremendous, in our space, we capitalize on the exhibition space. We also, I remember I paid for college and law school actually playing Irish music in the 1980s in New York City. So I come from the entertainment and performance realm. And I remember with my kids back in 2000, 2001, 2002 in this planetarium, sitting in the back saying, oh my God, if I ever do a music video, I want to do it right here in this room because it's so cool. And so I was on this job 3 weeks when I had the first musical performance there. And we've had over 3 dozen since then in the last 15 months. We are helping with the revitalization of downtown Albany as a result of that. So we've been bringing world-class Irish musicians, real legends who have sold out the Egg to our 60-seat performance space. And people have driven up from the Carolinas and out as far as Buffalo to see some of these shows. We have fantastic lectures. We do, there's a lot of performances, like 1-person, 2-person shows. I have to tell you that we also, one of the things that we're about to announce, a resident historian and a resident Shanachie, which is a storyteller. We just announced with a press release this week our own America 250 series, which is beginning with an event actually next week. For those who want a copy of our press release to talk about this, we plan on having at least a dozen events and performances, starting next Tuesday with a true legend in Irish performance. His name is Derek Warfield of the Wolf Tones. He is also a historian. He's going to talk about the Erie Canal and in Stories and Song. We have another event coming up on May 30th. We are right now curating it's going to be a rhythm or percussion event with an Irish Buran drum, for those of you who know what that is, with some of our indigenous tribes that are here in New York. So, famous Irish comedian Hal Roach used to say, write that down, that's a good one. There's my number. It's going to be on the contact sheet, and very honored to be here. If I can just make one pitch to all of you, I would say this: collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. You look at what your mission is, and look at those around you, whether you're a business or whether you're a government. I mean, my TPA, I mean, I used to work in health law, a tissue plasminogen activator, or what's the other one, a third-party administrator. My TPA is Maeve right here, and work with them. We worked together for the Erie Canal. We did an entire week of events with the Slater, so when you do that, you will succeed. Thank you very much.
And last but very much not least, Ken Mark from the Fort William McHenry Museum. I said McHenry because I am from Baltimore.
We get that a
The
lot,
Fort
actually.
William Henry Museum, which has nothing to do with the tunnel in Baltimore, but lots to do with our state's history. Just Up 87 is going to talk to us about their institution.
Howdy. We've heard a lot about story, just story, and that's really great because I'm a Gen X theater kid, semi-retired stagehand and production designer. And I learned everything truly important in life from my mother, from kindergarten, children's television workshop, quite frankly, and Schoolhouse Rock. As humans, we are storytellers, whoopsie, and it's how we make sense of the world. It's how we understand who we are and who we are becoming. And the story we're talking about today is a story of cooperation. So collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. This is the French and Indian War, not as a footnote to the American Revolution, but as its prequel, the prelude to freedom. Before there was a revolution, there was a war most Americans don't really know about. In fact, I didn't know about it very well at all until I came here a couple of years ago. But without that war, the American Revolution as we know it might not ever have happened. The French and Indian War was part of the 7 Years' War and was the first truly global conflict. It was fought across Europe, the Americas, Africa, India, and even the Philippines. Winston Churchill dubs it the very first World War. But here in places where I am, like in Fort William Henry, it wasn't global, it was personal. It was cold, it was hunger, it was fear. It was downright smelly. Just ask Paul Revere. He journaled about that. And it was learning to survive together. Colonists fought beside British regulars. They built forts, they ran supply lines, they endured battles and sieges, and something important happened. Young people, soldiers, officers, women, Native Americans, all of these people learned how to fight, plan, win, and survive. They learned it as British, from the British. Well, most of them were British. They learned discipline, logistics, strategy, how an army actually functions, and they learned they could do this. They learned from their mistakes. Ask George Washington about Fort Duquesne. He kind of started everything. They learned they weren't just subjects of an empire. They were capable, organized, resilient people. At places like Fort William Henry, we see this physically. Musket balls, fortifications, human remains, a 3,500-pound French siege cannon. This is where self-discovery begins. In 1754, Benjamin Franklin publishes this image, "Join or Die." It's not revolutionary, not yet, but it's a warning. The message is simple. We survive only if we cooperate. By the end of the war, the band had been assembled and was doing great. They had some really great hits, but now it was time to hang it all up and go back to everyday life. When Britain tried to reassert control, raising taxes, restricting movement, colonists didn't just object. They remembered what they had already accomplished together, and they just needed to put the band back together. Britain had fought and won a massive global war, but it came at an enormous cost. The empire was deeply in debt. It had vast new territories to defend. And for the first time, Britain kept a standing army in North America. To Britain, it seemed reasonable. The colonies had benefited from the war, so they should help pay for it. Britain levies taxes, tightens control. It governed the colonies in ways it had never had before. But the colonial perspective, it didn't add up. We fought, we bled, we paid, and we weren't asked. So this is where equality and freedom enter the story. It's not abstract ideas, but it's a lived experience. The revolution didn't start as an idea, but it was a story we already knew. At Fort William Henry, our job isn't just preserving the history, it's telling the story. We do that through immersion, through a 200-year anniversary screening of The Last of the Mohicans, where it's fully immersive, like you see here. By centering human objects like our Baxter compass, carried through captivity, survival, and release, and sometimes we do it over barbecue on the 4th of July. So, the American story isn't just about independence, it's about cooperation, equality, and freedom. The self-discovery of a people learning what they could accomplish together, and because I am a theater guy, I borrow a line from Schoolhouse Rock's very own Lynn Ahrens. from her musical Once on This Island. This is why we tell the story. As humans, we tell stories, we tell them well, and we don't just remember the past, we learn about the past, and we see our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Great stuff. Fort William Henry. Next up, we have Pat Niles, who's going to give us an update from the Washington County 250th Commission. Thank you, Pat.
Let's see. This is always a problem for me. Anything dealing with technology is a problem for me. So we could lose this before we get done. The title is Washington County History Festival, where heritage and history meet the present. The Washington County historians, museums, demonstrators, craftspeople will exhibit the history of the community, museum, or demonstrate their crafts related to the culture of our county. The evolution of Washington County, originally part of Albany County, Charlotte County was formed in 1772, encompassing the territory as far as the Canadian border and as far east as encompassing a great deal of Vermont at that point. Washington County is on the eastern boundary of New York. We are in good relation to New England and to Canada, as well as the rest of New York State. Our point of the festival that we are running is on geography. The geography shaped our history. The Lake Champlain-Hudson corridor shaped our early military history during the French and Indian War, the American Revolution, and the War of 1812. It later shaped our agricultural and industrial history due to the use of the waterways and the development of the Champlain Canal system. Those waterways also enabled the development of water power for the 19th century factories that developed, which led to success in the 19th as well as the 20th century. Currently, the Washington County has open spaces, agricultural base, forest reserves, which are used for the growing of grapes, the harvesting of maple sugar, hops, which in turn have developed into cottage industries such as wineries, maple sugaring, breweries, and distilleries in Washington County. The historical societies of Washington County will come together at the History Festival in July of 2026. The historical societies will represent their communities or their regions. We will have a wide variety of historical periods on display. The French and Indian War, the American Revolution, in particular in Fort Edward, Burgoyne, and the American armies marched through Washington County, fought in Charlotte County, which is part of Washington County. The old Fort House was owned, which is in Fort Edward, was owned by a Loyalist. It was then owned by a Patriot. It served as the headquarters for Philip Schuyler during the Burgoyne campaign, John Burgoyne himself, General Riedesel, and later on in the war, General John Stark. The Underground Railroad and the abolitionist movement ran through Washington County because of its geography. We also are one of the famous stories of the 19th century, Solomon Northrop, who lived in the old Fort House. The Civil War was a major factor. 15 or 16, the historian here for Washington County probably correct me on that, but we supplied 15 or 16 different regiments during the Civil War, and we have one of the few recruiting centers called the Hartford Recruiting Center in Hartford, New York. Very few in New York State have anything along those lines. The Victorian era was big in Washington County because we were an industrial and a high-functioning agricultural area during the 19th and early 20th century. Suffrage was also a major part of Washington County history. having Susan B. Anthony as one of our residents at one point. We also had one of the first and foremost suffrage movements was in Washington County. Historical societies such as Greenwich, Fort Anne, Whitehall, Hartford, Cambridge, and more will be at the festival telling their stories in July of 2026. Washington County Music and Theater, we are known for our music. Many well-known country singers have performed in Washington County. We have legends in Washington County right now, Al and Kathy Bain, who will perform at the festival, as well as doing a historical oral history of Washington, music in Washington County at this festival. We also have the old-time bands. We still have in Washington County, our Washington County Band, our Hartford Band that play in the summers and in the falls in the country squares. I'm out of time already. I thought I just cleared my voice, my throat. All right. We have several museums, and I will finish up quickly. We have several museums, such as the Skeensboro Museum and the Old Fort House. The Farm Museum and the Center will all be on display at that particular period of time. We have also one of the oldest agricultural fairs in New York State. Started in 1893. It was taken down during World War II and during COVID for a short period of time. But we will have displays on that. All right, thank you, and I am sorry I ran over my time. If you want to learn more about it, click on to the Washington County link at the bottom of the page or scan our QR code. Thank you so much. I hope I see you in July of 2026. It's a two-day event, and we will have culture and history on display. Thank you very much.
All right. I know we're running a little over, but we're going to keep going. Next up is Lauren Cosgrove, who's the Northeast Campaign Director for the National Parks Conservation Association. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Hi, everybody. Great to be here. I'm Lauren. I'm with the National Parks Conservation Association. So I'll share a little bit more about the group. I'm sure you've never heard of us. And then really my goal here today is to bring in a call to action and get you all to join us as advocates for our national parks and for America's history. So NPCA is an independent, nonpartisan organization. We are the fearless and outspoken defenders of our national parks. There are 433 national parks all over the country. And we're founded by the same people that founded the National Park Service, the federal agency, because they knew, they had the foresight that there needed to be a voice outside of the federal government that could defend the purpose of the national parks. We have been doing this for over a century, working with different administrations from Democratic to Republic, because our parks are a uniting force, especially during these challenging times. They're more than just dots on a map or something you might check off on your bucket list. They're actually markers of what we choose to preserve and to take with us going forward. And New York has 24 national parks. We've talked about a number of them here today. Each one of these parks are important entry points to the Revolutionary War era, but they also showcase the pivotal role that New York played in the shaping of America. You see this on display at places like Federal Hall, National Monument, and the Statue of Liberty, where we showcase ideals like liberty and equality, and also industrial ingenuity at places like Castle Clinton and Fort Stanwix. New York's national parks are living history museums, and actually 2/3 of those 433 are historic and cultural sites. And too often those are the ones that are overlooked and underfunded. So that's why our organization led the campaign to invest in our national parks. There was a historic legislation that actually passed in 2022, signed by President Trump, that invested $6.5 billion to America's national parks so that they can start to tackle the maintenance challenges. As you all know, as historians, a lot of these places are very old. We're struggling with leaky roofs, cracked foundations, crumbling roads and bridges, and that takes maintenance dollars to make sure that we can take care of these places and pass these stories and histories on to the next generation. And so we worked to pass this bill. It provided, as I said, $6.5 billion. They did hundreds of projects all over the country. And New York received a lot of that money. About $260 million came to New York to do projects at 10 different national parks. I'm sure you all have visited and have seen the fantastic new interpretive exhibits along Battlefield Road at Saratoga National Historical Park. This was a terrific investment that makes this history more relevant and accessible to both hearing and visually impaired visitors, to folks who may be disabled. And there was a wonderful ribbon cutting that the National Park Service hosted with Representative Tonko and Representative Stefanik, not only to showcase this as a success story, but also to renew our commitment to investing more in our national parks, because ultimately more funding and staff are needed. The 5 years of that maintenance fund is up, the money is running dry, and unfortunately, the maintenance needs are outpacing what Congress can authorize in the federal budget. The backlog for maintenance projects is up to $23 billion. And right now is the time to invest. On the heels of the 250th anniversary, there's no better time to make this kind of investment and to make sure that the history is protected and preserved and accessible for all people. And so I'm here to sort of rally the troops and say that we want to work with you. And PCA is an advocacy organization. We can create graphics, tools, and other resources to incorporate advocacy and civil engagement into your America 250 programming. This opportunity, this anniversary, is not just a time to reflect, but it's also a time to aspire as to the country that we want to be. What do we want future generations to inherit from us? And that takes staff and money. So we can create infographics, we can give you the data. And I just want to mention, I'm going a little off script here because this is happening in real time, but the elephant in the room that has been mentioned by Acting Commissioner Kathy Moser, Miss Olga Tirado, and others is that the history in our country is under attack.
That's right.
And no one can actually erase our history, but what is happening is that it is being sanitized, and the stories that are most important to the founding of our nation are being taken down, and it is inaccessible. And that is not what we want our National Park Service staff to have to deal with. And so they're being told by this administration to remove brochures. Signs are coming down, websites are being scrubbed, and it takes advocates and activists like all of us in the room. And so these QR codes, one is on the left, you have an organizational sign-on letter that you can put your name on and help us advocate for the renewed maintenance funding. The QR code on your right is an individual pledge that you can take that just says you commit to joining us in this fight. But if you're interested in the protection of American history in our national parks, please come see me. We've got other QR codes, lots of tools and sign-on letters that we'd love to, again, share. So thank you for the opportunity and the time, and thank you all for the amazing work that you're leading here in New York.
Thank you so much. And finally, well, actually, there's more, but Derek Ivey has traveled up from Long Island as well. Thank you so much. He is the Youth Services Coordinator for the Suffolk Cooperative Library System. Thank you so much.
Good morning, friends. I'm here to tell you about a program that was created in Suffolk County called the Great Give Back that now goes throughout the state of New York. As Devin mentioned, I'm Derek Ivey. I'm the Youth Services Coordinator at the Suffolk Cooperative Library System. And so really the question is, what is the Great Give Back and why am I talking about it today? Well, with the national commemoration of the 250th anniversary, there is an initiative called America Gives. And what America Gives is doing is that it is centering the celebration on volunteering and giving back as best as we can as a nation. And they're actually tallying up the amount of hours that Americans are giving during the year of 2026. And that's where the Great Give Back comes in. I am lucky enough to have support from our friends at the New York State Library who want to help leverage this program to go beyond libraries and go throughout the state for this 250th year in America Gives. So the Great Give Back is a day centered on service-oriented programming in New York libraries and hopefully beyond. The programs that are being run differ in size, different in range, different in organization. It's whatever those organizations want to do to give back to their communities. It's traditionally held on the third Saturday of October, but we're always flexible with that. If there's a date that works better for you, by all means, please join us and do it on that date. It's for all ages. We want everyone in your community to perform community service, to give back to their communities, and it can be as big or as small as the institution likes. Quickly, a history. It began in 2016. The first official Great Give Back was in Suffolk County in 2017. And from there, Nassau County joined us on board, and now it's at 15 other library systems in the state. And hopefully in 2026, it will be going beyond libraries as well. I want to talk about the levels because, like I said, the project can be as big or as small as you would like. So level 1 is something you maybe already do. Maybe you already do some sort of collection of canned goods or pet supplies or something like that to donate somewhere. You can continue to do that and just be a part of the Great Give Back. Level 2 can involve volunteers and be multi-hours. Maybe it's a park cleanup, a beach cleanup. Many of our libraries have done town cleanups and things like that. And level 3 can be multi-organization, multi-day, and just be really a huge, big event that involves a bunch of people. So just quickly, I'll give you some examples. Level 1, this was the Phoenicia Library a few years ago. They did cards for troops and seniors. So it was very simple. They put cards out, stickers out, markers out, and then folks were able to come in and create these cards of goodwill to be sent to those in their communities. A level 2 project, this is something that happened at the Island Trees Public Library. They made military care packages. So what they did is that they found out things that service members need. They did a drive for it, and then they came together to pack it all together and mail it out. And a level 3, this is something called TerraCycle. This was held at multiple libraries in the Ramapo Catskill library system. TerraCycle is an organization that focuses on hard to recycle items, and what they do is that the libraries collected these items and then they sent them off to TerraCycle, and then TerraCycle makes them into new items that can then be repurposed and reused. So those are just 3 very quick examples of Great Give Back projects that have been run. Regarding these resources, you can find more examples of Great Give Back projects on our website, thegreatgiveback.org. Those who come on to the Great Give Back, what we do is that we list your location by county, we list the program that you're doing and all the details that you give us, and we also plot it on a map. So as you can see, those are over the 300 libraries that participated in the Great Give Back last year. If your organization wants to be a part of that, you can be on that map as well. We also have created this Great Give Back guide. So if you're an organization that's trying to tell someone else about this or maybe want to learn more about it, your stakeholders want to learn more about it, you can scan this and look at the guide. It's a large file, so please give it time to load. I promise it's not broken. Partnering with the New York State Library, we're hoping to make some physical media as well as the digital media. We're hoping to make window clings, yard signs, I Gave Back stickers to those who come to your organization and donate, and so we will be sending these to you if you are a part of the Great Give Back. The timeline is in July, we'll send out an RSVP form, just telling us that you want to be a part of the Great Give Back. In August, we get those program details to put on the website. October 17th is the Great Give Back this year, and then we'll send up a follow-up survey to see the impact. And then once we have all those volunteer hours, we'll log them on the America Give site so that we can be a part of that national giving movement. If you'd like to take part of the Great Give Back, you can scan this QR code. Just put your name, email, your organization name, and your address, and we will be happy to send you more information, or you can always email me at librariesgiveback@gmail.com. Thanks so much, friends.
All right. Thank you. I have the honor of reading a statement from Jerry Favreau, who is the chair of the Clinton County America 250 Committee and also the president of the Clinton County Historical Association, who I believe is on the stream but couldn't make it in person. So I just wanted to read an update from Clinton County. I'm a graduate of SUNY Plattsburgh, the Harvard of Clinton County. It was my home away from home. Anyway, on October 11th of this year, the America 250 Committee in Clinton County will sponsor the reenactment of the Battle of Valcour Island, the first battle fought by the newly formed American Continental Navy under the command of Colonel Benedict Arnold. This battle is considered by some historians as the most important naval battle of the American Revolution. While the Clinton County America 250 Committee was officially organized in the fall of 2022, the Clinton County Historical Association had been attending meetings and planning for the commemoration since 2018. Since 2022, the committee has been working with 18 municipalities, with the 18 municipalities in Clinton County, who are forming their own committees, planning 250th events in their communities. And they are also working with the arts community, the libraries, schools, and other community groups. In 2023, the Clinton County Historical Association was awarded an $8,000 grant from the Champlain Valley National Heritage Partnership to publish a planning manual and toolkit as an aid to others planning events in the area. And the publication received wide distribution. Over 200 copies have been shared. In 2025, the committee operated under a grant of $40,000 from the Champlain Valley National Heritage Partnership for an initiative called Pathway to America 250. This grant allowed for four one-day camps for children and a first and only A to Z history and activity book on the American Revolution in the Champlain Valley, which will be given for free thanks to the grants and for support from stewards shops and private donor to all 4th and 5th grade students in Clinton and Essex and Franklin counties will receive a copy of this. The Historical Society was able to install a 3-room exhibit at the museum, one room featuring the military history of the region, a second room, the Battle of Valcour Island, with information about General Richard Montgomery, who has ties to the North Country, and with an exhibit about one of Benedict Arnold's gunboats, the Spitfire. The third room is dedicated to the contributions of women, indigenous people, and black patriots. The grant also enabled the CCHA to upgrade their diorama depicting the battles of Valcour and Plattsburgh, create 9 wayside exhibits, interpretive panels for 4 locations with strong ties to the Revolution, 2 period clothing workshops, a logo created by the Adirondack Visitors Bureau, and 20 banners to be distributed to each municipality in Clinton County, plus the county legislature, who are strong supporters of the organization. They were able, through this grant, to sponsor 5 speakers ranging in topics from the Battle of Valcour and other aspects of the American Revolution. The America 250 Committee in Clinton County also received significant grant support for its 2026 plans, which will culminate in a reenactment of Valcour Island leading up to the October 9th and through 11th signature weekend. The entire weekend will be videotaped and shared on CCHA's and the Adirondack Coast Visitors Bureau websites. Grant money for 2026 was received from the Clinton County Legislature, the New York State Education Department via the New York State 250th Commission, and the New York State Assembly Office of former Assemblyman D. Billy Jones and current Assemblyman Michael Cashman, as well as the Champlain Valley National Heritage Partnership. All events that I'm talking about here will be posted on the battleofvalcour.com, clintoncountyhistorical.org, and at the adirondackcoastcultural.org, which we will share all of this information with you. That is all I have from Clinton County. I know we ran over. We tried to pack a lot in. I want to thank everybody for attending in person. Obviously, all the presenters for sharing your information with us, and all of the people who stream this. Thank you all. And again, this information will be shared, as well as all of the contacts for all of the presenters. So if you have any questions, please follow up. And let's continue the conversation, and good luck in 2026. Thank you.
All right.